Alright guys, hello, welcome to STRV. I'm Lubo, I'm the CEO of the company, and I was asked to share a couple of words with you. And it's great to meet you here at React Nights. And I wanted to mention that back in the days, I started as an engineer also. And I was mostly doing front end, a little bit of back end. At that time, though, in PHP. And I wish I would have an opportunity to work with JavaScript and React back then, because I think I would enjoy it way more, and then maybe I would still be an engineer, and I would not turn into something else, as I did not really enjoy working with PHP, so I was looking for other options, right? So that's how I became the CEO. But I wanted to. You have an 8-week course, if I'm not mistaken, ahead of you, and I'm really happy that we can offer you this, and I hope that you will find value. I know that the team has been working on that very hard, and it's not just Danny, but also other people from our front-end department involved, and also when it comes to running the events and the support. So we are ready for you to host you here at our offices and drop some knowledge. So I hope that you will enjoy it and you will find value in that. And yeah, hope it's gonna be good 8 weeks for you, and hopefully you will be able to share with me some feedback afterwards how it went. And I wish you all the luck. There is a lot of homeworks. I actually started one thing. I started giving homeworks to the top management of the company as well, and it's very interesting to see the results that I get from them. So I hope that you will like the homeworks, and then that you will work hard on that, and that yeah, again, you will take the most value out of that. We really appreciate the great community that we have here in the Czech Republic, so that's why we do these events, and in the end that's just one of many. So enjoy, and hopefully Danny and the team will kill it, and you'll be able to speed up your growth in terms of React. Right, that's all, and the course is yours, Danny.
Thank you. Alright, hello everyone. Many of you probably meet me already during the interviews, but anyway, I'm Danny. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm leading front-end department over here, with over there Dan sitting at the back. He's the second team lead, and yeah, here today I'm going to talk with you. Sorry. Talk about the introduction to the whole thing. So you probably wrote, or you already read in our jobs post that it's going to be React Nights, of course, and it's going to be an intensive 8-week program. But actually, what does it mean? Learn. So, how it will work? Each one of you will get a mentor. I believe all of you already got those cards, right? And on this card, there's supposed to be some face and probably a cross. So yeah, check it out. It's your mentor. This dude or girl is supposed to be available for you, or not supposed to be. It's going to be available for the whole 8 weeks. Those guys will also review your homework, so be like good to them, you know? And of course, they are here for consultation, any kind of guidance or whatever you need. So basically, feel free and don't be shy. Write to them, talk to them, ask for guidance. They are really meant to be there for that, so don't be afraid and just do that. And the last part I would like to tell you is that actually sharing is caring. Consider the fact that a lot of you can have a question which might be beneficial for others too. So if it's like general enough, please feel free to ask anybody, either in a general channel on a Slack, or week, or appropriate week. Why appropriate? Each week we are going to have a channel for that. Let me see if there is any channel. There is not. So week 1, here we go. In those things we are going to, I would say, based all the needed information, we can discuss some like relevant stuff about the homeworks, etc. And speaking of Slack, with your cards, there's supposed to be a QR code. So by scanning that, you're supposed to get into Node.js Nights. I really suggest you to use that, even though it's not mandatory, but Slack is nice. As you see, we use it on STRV, and Slack is a really nice way how to communicate, especially in these days. Email are dead, don't use Slack. Cool. Homework. Yeah, so you heard about homework. Even Lubo mentioned that, when CEO says about homework is serious. It's true, because actually practice makes the master. And yeah, I would say you should do the homeworks. It's really here for you to actually improve your knowledge, especially kind of repeat all the stuff you're going to learn during your lecture. So each week we will have a homework, and this homework will be pretty straightforward in terms of implementation, but what we would like to do, we would like actually you to open a pull request on a GitHub project, and there will be some deadline. Since we are having those lessons on Tuesdays, we would like you to submit the homework like latest on Sunday midnight. It's just because that all the lecturer or all the mentors will have enough time to do the review and provide you valuable feedback. But still, keep in mind, actually, by submitting sooner, we will get you better feedback. So yeah, if you can do that, let's say on Wednesday, we can actually give you a feedback on Thursday, on Friday, on Monday, and again on Tuesday, so we can even discuss in person. So yeah, if you have enough time, please do that. Those homeworks are not that long, I would say, in terms of implementation. I did all of them, and it took me like 15 minutes per each. But yeah, I'm a bit experienced, but I believe you will do the same. And last part, please invite your mentor for a review. So I believe that all the mentors are supposed to have a GitHub name. They will share it with you through Slack, and once it's done, so basically just invite those people to that. And if you will have any issue with submitting or implementation of the homework, please let us know. It's much better to letting us know rather than not doing that and then having any excuses that, sorry, I forgot, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, just let us know all the time. I would say over-communication is the key to success, so let's over-communicate over all of it. All right, now let's talk about how we will do the whole thing, because still there was like a lot of questions right to answer. So, first of all, we are here to provide you all the materials, all the knowledge we gathered over there, over like dozens of projects. There's actually 30 people in the front-end department who participated in this course, so we have a lot of knowledge to share. But still, I would say main activity is still up to you, right? You need to actually learn and practice, especially practicing. And to make it even easier for you, we are recording all the lectures. So basically, after each lesson, I would say, or lecture, or day or two maybe, we will try kind of do the post-editing and upload it to YouTube ASAP, so you can actually recall the whole course. We will use this repository as the main source of truth. I believe it's not created yet, so I will create it just after the lesson. And on that repository, you will find all the recorded lectures, all the materials, presentations like this one, source code to the app we are going to build, and any additional assets. So yeah, just remember this thing. I will definitely post the link to Slack once it's going to be ready. And yeah, again, a lot of topics, self-study is a must. Yeah, it's all over the presentation. So yeah, just keep it at that point. Another thing is, I would like to mention you one thing about the STRV Academy. Some of you probably heard about it, and STRV Academy is actually the thing we ran back in the past. And my thing is that I would like to mention you that it's not the first time we are actually teaching. We already ran 2 academies back in 2016 and 2017, but those reactions actually are there for the first time. So be with us, guys, share the feedback, let us know how it works, how does it work. Because it's really valuable for us too, just to kind of improve ourselves, especially our methods of teaching, so we can cover even more stuff in the future. And also, we organize a lot of meetups and many stuff, so basically, yeah, the knowledge is there, we just kind of need to work with that. So after each lesson, actually, in those week-related channels, there's going to be a questionnaire posted probably by me, or maybe Camilla, or maybe Dan, I don't know who exactly. Just please, guys, fill these questionnaires down. There will be like 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 simple questions. It's basically just yes, no, okay, so. But yeah, the feedback is really valuable for us, so please, guys, do that. And as I mentioned before, sharing experience. So guys, let's collaborate all of us, because I believe we can create a really nice working group over there. And yeah, have the most fun. I would like to present to you guys 2 motivational stories from those those STRV Academy nights we had. So one of them is this gentleman. He's there, he's not here. Never mind. His name is Pavel Prikočko, and he was a part of our first academy in 2016. And what is interesting about this dude? He actually joined our team as a junior, now he's like fully senior guy, and the most probably interesting part that actually he went to work into US. We worked there pretty oftenly, but his main client was Microsoft, which is quite impressive, you know, like 3 years, is it 3 years, right? So 3 years ago he studied just like learning React for the first time, and then he worked in Microsoft. That could be you too. And then he worked there on Kindness, is our own project, really challenging too, but quite impressive. And this Pavel, he also speaks on meetups, he contributes to open source, and he actually organized even the hackathon in San Francisco. So, it was the first story, and the second story is this little gentleman. This is Zdeněk Špaček, and he is another guy from the academy, this time from 2017. What's interesting about him? He totally changed his career when he was 30. He just realized that, what I was doing was wrong, front-end is the thing, so that might be the thing for you too. And what is interesting about him, actually he worked on many multiple projects. I pointed this one a week ago. It's a really huge and complex project written in GraphQL, and he actually had to learn that even after the academy, but he's actually a great learning point. Yeah, he's actually really loving that. And besides that, he actually exploring more than stuff that just front-end. He was also doing some tooling for our teams. Recently, he published a Sketch plugin. So yeah, the thing is, whenever you have this learning mind, it's super easy to go with anywhere, especially with JavaScript, right? All right, enough about the motivational stuff. Let's move forward to when, what, and how. So, when? We expect from you some stuff. So first of all, whenever you won't be able to participate, just let us know. We would like to know that so we can plan our parties better and homework reviews, etc. And yeah, there is gonna be this homework. Please guys, really submit it on deadline. We are going to track that actually, if you are able or capable of submitting or not. It's really important to us also to do the proper reviews, so please guys do so. And from our side, you can also expect some stuff, and yeah, those materials will be available just after or during the lecture. By materials, I mean the presentation or code or whatever else. But records, they need to do, or they need to have some like this post-editing, and yeah, so it will take some time. But anyway, I would say Ivo will do his best to actually manage that and load the video ASAP. Great. Now let's jump to some. Cool. Now let's jump to prerequisites. I believe I already sent you this document, but now I would like to comment it a bit and just tell you what is there and why it's so important for me at least. So yeah, before we jump to that, we need to know some basics of HTML and CSS. It's pretty straightforward, right? We are building front-end apps, so we just need to know these. Without that, we can't do anything. We need to know JavaScript, of course. Even though we will teach you probably a bit of JavaScript during the lesson, but still, it's up to you guys. You need to know the JavaScript. It's, I would say, the key thing in the front end. You need to have Node.js and NPM installed. We are going to work with these pretty a lot. And you need to have a GitHub account. If you don't have any, please create one. And actually over there, you'll be submitting your homeworks. It's a really important thing to have. Lastly, you need to have your code editor be ready or IDE. It's up to you. And I really recommend you to use Google Chrome. I've seen many developers working on Safari or Firefox or other browsers. Really, if you are doing front-end, please guys use Chrome. It's the best thing ever. And now I'll just tackle a bit each section of these and tell you a bit more. So yeah, HTML, CSS is of course a bare minimum, but besides that, please pay huge attention to those things, semantics and accessibility. It makes a huge difference between like good app and great app. We are going to build great apps over there, so focus on that. Over there is a pretty nice resource. If you didn't see it yet, open it, see it. Actually, I'm going to open it. Yeah, it's pretty great. There is jQuery, forget about it, but this thing is really good. It's really well written. It covers a bit of semantics, accessibility, good practices, a bit of CSS. It's really good, really worth reading, even for some experienced guys. And over there are some accessibility resources because we believe that accessibility is a really huge buzzword in 2019. So yeah, accessibility all the way. Over there is a resource from developers.google.com group. And over there's actually a lot of articles, so read it through whenever you're bored. You can find a lot of wisdom over there. And this little project is really cool too, especially for those who are really experienced with front-end. You can find there a lot of goodness. Then JavaScript. JavaScript is simple, but JavaScript is weird. So let's be ready working with that. Over there, I put down a lot of different resources. So first of all, for those who have no idea how to actually install the node, please do that from the official website. Why that? Actually, you don't need to bother about brew and other weird stuff. Over there are two versions. There is this latest version, latest support version, or this current thing with latest features. We are front-end guys, so we love latest features, so let's use that thing. And over there is a really nice website with a lot of great resources. Definitely worth reading. See, I've checked how to do Ninja coding. And yeah, go for it. Actually, it's really good even for those who kind of know Wing JavaScript, but yeah, it kind of explains ES6 and great things about it. Over there is a link for from the Node.js Nights 2018. It was held by Joshka, who is our backend developer. He's a really amazing teacher, and he can actually during that video, he explained a lot of, I would say, unclear things about the JavaScript, especially like event loops. Definitely worth reading or watching. And these last two guys over there, so Agnet, for those who doesn't know that, it's really amazing source of any like front-end knowledge, I would say, but generally programming, but it's really focused on front-end a lot. And of course, React documentation. React documentation is really a great piece of documentation. Definitely read it through. It will help you a lot, and not just in React, but in the front-end general. All right, GitHub. So there is some quote, what is Git, what is GitHub, but for our purposes, we just need to have an account. And for those who can't work with Git properly, read those resources. You will need it because we are going to submitting pull requests, right, and doing some crazy stuff with that. So let's just be confident with that. If you have, again, any issues, feel free to ping your mentor. All right, code editor or IDE. So there is pretty straightforward choice. I would recommend you just one, even though there are many, many more that are really great. We'll go with Visual Studio Code. The thing is, it's cross-platform and it's for free. So all of us, we can have the same editor and the same environment, so we can work on that. But if you have like a lot of money, you can buy yourself a license for WebStorm. It's a really great IDE. But Visual Studio Code actually is getting to almost IDE experience. This lane kind of demonstrates all the best things that VS Code can do, even though it's supposed not to do it. Yeah, there is like a lot of beautiful stuff, so definitely check it out, it's beautiful. And I put there also a thing about the marketplace. So just like other editor, there are a lot of plugins. So let's see how it works. Yeah, you can jump over there, find some stuff, click here, and you have an extension. Pretty easy to install, but it will improve your developer experience a lot. And I specifically chose two extensions which are not that common and they are actually really hard to find, but they will improve your, I would say, speed of work a lot. First of them is Very Smart Select. This little guy is just an extension of the Smart Select built in the VS Code. What it does, it allows you to kind of select like this the whole text by pressing the keyword. Like selecting the text within the scope is really needed. And why Very Smart Select? It works with JSX too. JSX is like the thing how you React renders and stuff, right? So it will really helpful for you, and it works with TypeScript too. So this little guy is super. The second guy is HTML tag wrap. It's kind of actually a shame that it's not the VS Code yet, but what it allows you to kind of wrap your selection by pressing some keyword. So whenever you press some stuff, you can write it down, and it's super easy to use. I found myself actually by using those two extensions, I save like a lot of time. So once you will learn how to work with them, it will speed up your whole experience. Right? Oh, sorry. Too much closing. All right. We are loading. We are back. Presents. And I just lost my notes, so I'm going to open them again. And in the very last thing, Google Chrome. Seriously, this thing is the best thing ever. Especially in the last weeks, you will discover this is really needed. It's really great for debugging. It's really great for performance checking and nowadays. And if you are, like, again, brave enough, you can go with Canary version. It offers you a lot of goodness. For example, there is new built-in inspector. It will save you a lot of time, just a small addition. But please note, Canary version has its own issues, I would say. From time to time it just breaks and doesn't work well. Alright, those were the prerequisites, and now we can move forward into project setup. Project setup. So why project setup is so important? Because without that we can actually do any project, right? So let's set it up. So first of all, we shall start with project starter. Probably, I would say a lot of you heard there are many project starters, there are many boilerplates you can choose from, but let's pick the best one which you are going to use. So, I would stick with the official one. It's called Create React App. How many of you actually heard about this thing? Please raise your hands. Jesus Lord, that's impressive. So, alright, I won't introduce it as much, so briefly, it's just really stable, well-maintained, and battle-tested framework with amazing developer experience. Over there in STRV, we use it quite a lot. It's really good stuff. What is really good about the whole thing is really well documented, and it has a huge community behind it. Even some big names like Dan Abramov or Sokra, who is a creator of Backpack, are sending them to leave us all the time. It's really a great thing. And the best thing about the whole thing, it comes with one single package, which is called React Scripts. And this little guy is actually coupling all the scary stuff, such as Webpack and some other configurations. So what so basically, you don't need to worry about any configs. And whenever you would like to have some updates and some better features or whatever else, you just need to update one single package. It's really a great thing to do. And actually, this is an approach we are using all across the projects over there. I mean, not Create React App specifically, but other tools too, which are zero config or one package config. The last part is about actually that you can inject the whole thing, those React scripts, and find more about what's under the hood. Let me demonstrate you the whole thing. So I'll jump into my terminal over there. Hello everyone. Cool. Alright, I'm going to use npx. It's coming with npm thing. But it actually allows you to not install packages globally, but just run it for the first time. So I will use Create React App, and I'll call it React Nights 2019. It was the name of repository, right? So let's kick it. So now it's downloading all the internet and installing React and React scripts. Okay. Meanwhile, I'll just change directory to that. So let's see how it works. Hopefully Wi-Fi will be strong enough with me, and we will do it on time. So meanwhile, I'll just tell you why React scripts are so cool. It has a lot of actually stars on GitHub, and the community is really big. Let me demonstrate you that. So I'll just type over there, Create React App. And you will see actually that this package is a really massive thing. The whole repository is keep evolving, and they keep adding new features over there. I would say this repository is one of the strongest repositories on GitHub ever, in the front-end world, of course. And as it says, set up a modern web app by running one command. This is what we need to do, because we are going to focus on React. We are not going to focus how to actually configure all the stuff. And even though it's possible to install React by just running npm install React, we will do one step further and use that from this project starter. Alright, let me see from the bottom. It's over here. So it's really beautiful, this CLI. It tells us what to do. So there are some commands: yarn start, build, eject, etc. So, and over there, you can also see that it says I'm on master. So it actually created, I believe, some comments, probably. Yeah, it's over there. So it's even created some git commit history for you right away. Alright, so I mentioned this eject thing, but first of all, let's see what's inside the whole thing. So yeah, over there is VS Code. I'm using it too, I was not lying. For some of you, it might be a bit, I would say, weird. Why there is some yarn log, but not package.json log? Because I'm using yarn. So for those who would like to be a cool kid, use yarn too. Yarn is just another version of NPM. It's also meant to be for dependency management. What is cool about it? It's a bit faster and it is really nice logo. I really love it because so you see everything like that. So it's all about the logo all the time. All right, what's really great about those Create React app? First of all, it's a README. It's a really, let me just close all of these things. You are yelling at me? And I'll do something like, where do you think? Cool.
Can you make the font bigger?
I do. Oops, sorry. Is it better? In a bit. Alright, so I'm just going to close this and leave. So all of us, we can read Markdown, right? So yeah, why it's so great? There is a lot of great docs inside of it. So you can actually read how to use the whole thing by just reading this README. If you are like really into React, I'm definitely recommend you to do that. There are still great resources, and especially once you're gonna click over there, it's actually this repository I mentioned, so I want to click to open it. There is basically everything related to this whole lovely project, and especially there are many things which are not there, but there is kind of a recipe how to do that. And I also mentioned this Ajax scripts, so basically let's see those scripts over there. So what we got the scripts coming with that, and all of them are using React scripts. So over there we can see the dependencies, and we have just 3 of them. So React is needed because we are working with React, obviously. React DOM, because we work with React in a browser. DOM is a document object model thing. And React scripts is actually this Create React app thing. So let me just do one small addition. Let's keep it as it is. So yeah, we have 4 scripts coming with that. And those 4 scripts, let me tell you what they are doing. So the first one, start, is running the develop server. So we will use it all the time. Then there is this build thing, which is building your app. So we will use it in the very end. There is this test thing. We will use it on week 6, I believe. And eject thing, you should never ever use that in a production. Because with that, it's unrevertible operation. So once you do that, you're losing all the goodness of React scripts. But what you can do, you can actually check out in other page. So let me see. Check out B, eject playground. Let's go like this, and now I can just run yarn eject. Yeah, see? It's even asking me, it's really dangerous thing to do. Okay. I know it's permanent, but let's just see how it works. Alright, now it will do a couple of stuff, and it will totally broke the whole thing. But it will be beautiful. So you see, now it's a bit bigger, the whole thing. So there's like actually a lot of dependencies hidden inside of it. Which is a beautiful thing, so you don't need to worry about them at all. React team does, so just forget about it and just rely on them. Yeah, there is like a lot of stuff. You don't want to actually configure it by yourself. Or if you want to do that, you're great. Well, a lot of stuff, but it's not actually, ejecting is not about seeing those dependencies. Ejecting is whenever you actually need to do some kind of extra configuration, but again, don't do that. But what works to do is actually open the source folder and see what's inside. So this is actually a pretty common thing, but those scripts, they are not common at all. So over there, we can see how actually the build is working, etc. What is beautiful about it, there are comments. Comments everywhere. React team did a great job with commenting that. So whenever you'll be needed finding some like really deep knowledge how to build React app, go for it. It's really good. Oh, my fan is about to explode. Never mind. So there is a lot of stuff changed. You see there is Webpack configured. Again, you don't need to worry about it. For those who don't know what is Webpack, Webpack is a thing which just bundles all the assets together. By assets, I mean JavaScript, CSS, fonts, whichever just comes into your mind. It kind of bundles all the stuff together and produces you a production build. This little guy is pretty good because right now it has a version 4, but back in the past when there was version 1 or 2, it's really a nightmare to configure it. But yeah, even like version 4 is really hard to configure. So rather than that, just rely on React team and go with React scripts. Alright, enough of advocating React scripts, let's use them. I'll just go back to master. Go away. Jesus, Thank you. All right. So we have our project set up, pretty much ready, but there is one thing I'm not happy with that, and that we didn't run it yet. So let's try it out. Oh, goodness. I believe I removed too much of it. Alright. Maybe like this. Yeah, we call that demo effect. So I'll show yarn again. Yeah, because actually I ran this command eject which removes those React scripts, so they are not a part of those modules anymore. So yarn is actually an equivalent for NPM install. Cool. Yarn start. Start. So now it uses those React scripts back again, and it opens the local host server. We are getting there. Well, usually it's faster. Demo effect, of course. You see, React is there, it's working. So we already built our first step almost. So since we are going to build an e-commerce app, I believe none of e-commerce app has a React logo in it. Let's remove it. And actually, since we are doing the project setup, I'm going to create a new branch on the Git. I'll call it 01 probably project setup, and we will work over there. Check out. Here we go. Cool. So, what we need to do? I would like to get rid of all of this weird stuff which is coming with React, even though they are really nice and React team put a lot of effort to building that, but personally we don't need them at all. So first of all, let's see what we got over there. We got this service worker guy. I'll probably keep it over there. For those who don't know what the service worker, it's a special service. It's coming with native API for browsers, modern browsers, and it allows you to work offline, sending push notifications, pre-cache and a lot of beauty stuff. But let's keep it, it's good. But what we don't need to have is CSS, right? I mentioned there won't be any CSS, so just let's remove it. Cool. So now it's gone, and let's see what next. I'm actually going to remove this too. Tests are going to be written in week 7, so I'm just going to remove them too. So they're here, and I don't need this CSS file. Oh, I need this one. Restore file. But this one, no. So no. And we don't need any login too. So I believe now our app's supposed to crash because yeah, there are some imports that we need to remove too. So I'll just go back to app. Yeah, I'll remove this line. And let me just collapse this thing. And I remove this too. We don't have any logo. Actually, we don't need any of this. So remember the, oh, sorry. Yeah, I was about to say very smart select thing, but I forgot what was the shortcut for that. Sorry for that. So far we will just have a div over there, or let's call it h1, and I'll call it e-commerce. Let's see. Cool. So I think we cleaned it up pretty much all of it. Yeah. Put this in a public folder, we don't need to bother about it yet. And yeah, I think this is pretty much it. Alright, so let's commit it. So cool. Oh, let me see it again. Status. Deleted, modified, edit. Yeah. Looks like this is exactly what I want to do. I'm going to set all of it, and I'll call it clean up. Great. So there is one more thing I didn't mention about Create React App. It's this little guy over there. There is no built-in module replacement. It's a specific thing which comes actually with Fatback a lot, and it allows you to change some modules on the fly, so you don't need to reload your browser. So let me just demonstrate what I'm talking about. So you see over there is an e-commerce app, and if I'll do this, let's say I'm changing this name to Yo, You see there was like this loading thing, and it's actually boring. You know, we would like to have the best developer experience. So for those purposes, let's actually add this modular replacement. Let me just go back to it. E-commerce set, and by doing that, I need to go back to index.js. It was in the root of the project. And over there, we can actually, let me extend the whole screen. Cool. So this thing is actually rendering our app to div with ID root. Let's reuse it. It's good. So I'm going to create a function, an arrow function, which will do that. And now I'll just call the function. See if it works. Looks like it's working. And now the magic is coming, right? So I'll do, or actually I'll do it over here. So let's do an if statement. If module hot. This actually tells if there is a webpack and it's using this hot things. Let's do module hot accept. I need to put down the path to my app, which is app, right? Just pull it like this as a shorthand. And I'm going to call the render function. Pretty simple, right? Still working, so good. Now let's see if this is really working. So I claim to you there's supposed to be no re-render or no reload. Right. No, see, it just blinked. So basically, this is the whole thing. This little thing will actually improve your developer experience a lot because every single reload will cause you a lot of headaches. So whenever you're building a front-end app, especially SPAs, single page web apps, you need to have this kind of features. It's even built into React Native. So this is, I would say, the best thing, and why actually it's much better than iOS is, because we have this kind of tools. Cool. I'll just go back to my original title, and let's commit it again. So yeah, we just modified this little guy. So essentially, we just wrapped our original render function with, we kind of cast it into function, and now we are calling it in a module hot. And over there, we are just calling it if we are not on a dev server. Cool. So again, I'll add everything, and again, commit add hot module replacement. It has like this abbreviation HMR. Here we are. So now our project starter is done. So let me present it back. Just for recap. Yeah, we've done this, and now let's move forward to more interesting stuff. It's API and config. I would say it's always mandatory for you whenever you are building a front-end app. You need to be ready for that. So usually it consists of having fully designs ready, and API ready, and probably some Jira task ready and everything else. Since we are not doing CSS, there are no designs, there is no project manager, no Jira, so all we need to have is just API. Why API is so important? We are building app, right? So actually real world apps, they are usually work with API. Even though you can build like some simple app without API, but you know, it's not real thing. We chose over there to use commercelayer.io. This thing is really beautiful because it's a free, or it's not free actually, but it has a free plan. And essentially, this is a headless API. Headless means it's totally detached from the server, so all you need to do, or how you communicate with it, is through the API. It's a REST API, and let's see how it looks like. So it looks like this, yeah, and it says, add enterprise e-commerce to your static site. So it even works with static websites, perfect. So you don't need to have server-side rendering, nothing like that. And it's being used by many different tools. There's React over there, JavaScript, Gatsby, yeah, these tools. Yeah, that's pretty decent interface over there, but for our purposes, it will be just fine. So, first of all, you need to do, or like, especially whenever you're working with like some front-end app, you just need to know what are you going to build and how you are going to use it. So, it doesn't matter if it's commercelayer or any other API, just read through the documentation, because it will kind of reveal you all the goodness and how you should work with it, how you should structure your code. So this documentation is over there, it's API reference, and from that we can read down that there is some introduction, there are some base points, API specification. There are different applications. You can actually use this commerce layer for different various applications. And there are some environments. But for our purposes, the most important part is that is this thing. All API requests must be authenticated. To get authorized, you must include a valid access token. So we need to get this token somehow. First of all, let me kind of demonstrate to you how actually to get inside the commerce layer. So for you who don't have an account yet, go to the sign up button, create an account. I have one already, so I'll just use it probably. Yeah, I'll use this one. And it logs me into some organization. Over there, I'll just click down to that. Now it says me, yeah, it's a test mode because I have just a free plan. And what is interesting about the whole thing, because actually it will ask you whether you would like to create a new app or not, and if you would like to fill it with some dummy data. Dummy data are nice because you don't need to create any data, so let's just explore those data a bit. There are some already orders created, and the most important part, there are some products, even with photos. So yeah, that's why we chose it. There was like a lot of dummy data inside of it. So now let's go to settings. And in these settings, you scroll to the very bottom, there is an application. And in this application, you can create a new application. This application is needed to actually obtain this access token and actually communicate with the API. So when you're clicking new application, it says you what's going to be the name. You can pick the kind of it. There's like channel integration, that data CMS is a new thing. And so layer tell you why those things are there. Yeah, it's about those roles and permissions. So basically, some of the apps don't have a full access. So that's why we are going to choose the full app, which is supposed to be a channel. I'll just discard those changes and I'll show you what's inside, because once we save the whole thing, it will produce you those client IDs, client secrets, and base endpoints. We are going to work with that a lot. Alright, so now let's implement that into our code. But first, let's just finish the presentation and see what's inside. So yeah, I mentioned authentication, and fetching resources. Since I mentioned that in this lecture, we are going to fetch some resources, so I will use this link again. And in this link, it kind of shows us how to actually work with API. This is a classic REST API, so there are get, post, delete, and patch resource or endpoints. And I'm curious about this API, SQS. Cool. SQS. It stands for stock key unit, I believe. Well, yeah, and it returns you some JSON. Beautiful. Alright, what's next? Since we need to put those information such as client ID and API links to some config, let's think where we should put it. There is actually a pattern that you're supposed to do that in one single file. There's supposed to be one single source of truth to your app, and it's supposed to be some config.js or a config folder, and then there's going to be index.js. It's up to you. And last part, I would like to mention that it's possible actually to use environment variables from Node, like process.env.whatever. These are really cool because actually they are meant to be for better scalability. So whenever you will use these, you can actually much easier run your stuff on a CI or on a CD, or CI standing for continuous integration or continuous deployment. And it's possible to do that within React scripts because there is a .env package installed, and I'm going to demonstrate it to you too. This .env actually allows you to go to your editor, create over there a .env file. So this is its name. Write down something, hello, and I'll assign to that. Oh wait. Great. Let's go to this, and if I'll just try it working, it's supposed to be process.env. Was it hello? Yeah. And there's supposed to be somewhere map. And now it's not working because I need to kill it and rerun it. Because those are being initiated just with the first run of the app. And it's still not working for some reason. Let's call it a demo effect, and I will figure out later what's going on there. But actually, it's supposed to work. Process.hello. Interesting.
Yeah, you might need some space between and
Do I?
if you don't handle the package then so
Well, it's supposed to be a part of those React scripts right away, so it shall work. If I'll check it's there. Well, never mind. I'll just remove it for now, but it's a good
Did
idea.
you start the start, the build?
I did. Okay, I can do it once again if you don't believe me. So it's over there. Process, right? Node.js process. Environment thing, hello. Cool. Right, I'll run it for the last time. If it won't work, it won't work. But we'll just move forward. Never mind. Alright, so after that lesson, I will actually figure out what the hell is going on with that and why it's not working. Nonetheless, we can create our config file. So I will remove this. Don't need those files for now. And let's go to source. Essentially, source folder is the main source of your whole application, so config is supposed to be there too. I'm going to create a config.js file. And inside of it, I'm going to copy paste some stuff. So I already prepared that. So you can use over there ES6 modules because we are working with Babel over there. So what do I have over there? There is a client ID, there is a scope, and there is the API URL. And I got these from, oh my goodness. So this is the client ID. This is the base endpoints, and those are the scopes. I have it a bit different over there than in my example, but let's stick with examples so there are no added crashes. So over there we have the config, and now let's communicate with the actually real API. So I'll go back to app, and over there, as you see, there is a common React class components. You probably have heard already about some life cycles, so I'm going to use component with mount, in which I'm going to fetch some data. So I'm going to create a component with nothing. Component with mount. I'll just console log something over there. Hello from Sedema. Sedema stands for component with mount, obviously. And
you have a typo in component word.
is it me? Oh, actually I forgot to run the server here. And what I did?
Typo in component word. Component with mount.
Oh yeah, I did. Thank you. Yeah, usually I'm using snippets for this, so I'm actually not typing this at all. But for demonstration, I'll just write it like this. Alright, so now it works, it's good. We are almost there. We just need to communicate with API, right? So let me see what the documentation says, because personally I have no idea what to do. So first of all, it says authentication. So we need to get a token, right? So to work with that, we need to send a post request to this auth token. Alright, what should I do? So first of all, I'm going to, actually let me think, what will I do? So we are going to use fetch, and I'm going to import config from config. Great. Fetch is a native API of any modern browser. You shall use it all the time, even though there are some plans such as Axios, but those are usually built on top of old HTML requests or XML requests. Fetch thing is the newest thing ever. You should use it. And the really great part about it is that according to Can I Use, it's really well spread already. So you actually don't need even having like any polyfills almost. By almost, I'm saying that if you are allowed to support Internet Explorer 11, yeah, you need to use a polyfill. Otherwise, you are pretty good to go. So yeah, Fetch is really awesome. It's really powerful, and it allows us to do a lot of operations over there. So first of all, when I'm doing the fetch, I need to use my config. and get the URL, right? Sorry, I forgot what it was. That was API URL. Yeah, and I don't need to write this. I'll just, actually I need to write this, but I'll do it like this. Oh, and now I just realized why it didn't work maybe before that. Oh, never mind. So now I'm sending a request to my API URL, but documentation says disrupt, right? So I'll just keep it this.
Can you show the config?
Oh yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can copy paste it like from your own combination. Alright, so what else? Fetch itself is coming like with second parameter, which are options, and those options are meant to be for setting up like some various setups. So first of all, I need to set up the method of post, because again, API says that it's going to be a post request, and I believe I need to set up headers too, to specify that we are going to work with JSON. To do that, I'll just come to type, and it's supposed to be application JSON. Alright, so we have our request, we got this, we got this. This is pretty good. And last part is to actually make this API know that it's us. We need to pass some data to it. That's why it's post request, and it says over there. This is the request body, and we need to actually. I'm just going to copy paste this thing. So it asks us for credentials. We need to pass to it client ID and client secret and the scope of the whole project. So I will just copy paste it over there. We need to do something like JSON stringify. Boom. Oh, extra brackets. Okay, client credentials are pretty straightforward, and this little guy is gonna be config dots. Client ID. This is going to be config dots. I don't have any secrets, so let's remove it. Yeah, I don't have any secrets in front of you. And the last thing is scope. Alright. So now this looks like this is supposed to work. And fetch is actually promise based. Have you ever heard about promises? Is there anyone who didn't heard about promises? Raise your hands. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So definitely check those Node.js nice thing. They are really well explained, and in this JavaScript.info it's really well written over there. Promises are generally the thing how to work with async data flows in JavaScript. I won't cover that because we don't have enough time, but never mind. I'll just do this. So basically I'm expecting a promise, and then I'm trying to resolve it. So I'm just will try to console log the res is actually standing for result or response. So let's see our code over there. Oh yeah.
What was the scope again?
Scope was like this. 335. Market colon 335. Alrighty. Post application JSON. Cool. Lovely. Now it produces some error over there. It's supposed not. But it works at least. It sends the request. We can check it out over there in our network tab. Yeah, it says the request token from here, and no, not this one. Oh, there was some issue again, but never mind. I'll go back to that. So there's might be one more thing that we actually need to return this thing to JSON. Damn. We will see what is our result. Sorry. And there is an extra thing that. So you see. Voila. Now we got our access token, and we can actually, with that, we can authenticate any other request to this API I mentioned before. So let's see how it works. Well, we can actually write it down over there, because in this response.access token, I can get an access token, and continue doing like this ugly nesting of promises, or we can actually extract this whole thing and use async await. Async await is another feature of JavaScript that comes with like ES6, I believe, and it's really. So let me create a function. Let's call it getToken. And it will do basically something like that. Cool. And now in this component mount, I can actually call this getToken. And let's make this component mount async, and I will wait for this token. Let's console a token if it works. Okay, I'll go back. Looks like console is printing some stuff over there. Yeah, it's over here. So basically we refactored that a bit, so the whole functionality is abstracted away from the React component. This is exactly how we are going to work. We are willing our React components be as simple as we can, and all the stuff that could be extracted, we will always extract it. So this is like, I would say, the whole goal of how to do the React code. Great, so now we have a token, and I need to specifically use just an access token from that. I can use the structuring from JavaScript again. Let's see if it works too. And access token, sorry, browser, so here, console. Yeah, this lovely guy. This looks like JWT token, GWT token, JSON web token. We can decode it, see there are some stuff, actually, like, for those who don't know JWT tokens, I believe it's JWT.io. And if, come on, am I, laptop is super slow right now. Yeah, I'll just paste it over here. And it decodes to those information. So it says there is some market, some scope, there is application with ID, it's kind of channel, and it's public true. And there is usually some expiration date, it's over there, because tokens are working with some expiration, because if there is no expiration of token, you can steal the token and do any action with that. But how to invalidate those tokens and how to generate new ones, we will cover it in the next lessons. Alright, we are almost there. So we have our access token, and now actually let's call with that the real API and get those resources that I mentioned. So I'll go back to the documentation of API, and over there we got their fetching resources. So it says set a get request to API SQS, and this one's supposed to fetch all the collection, or this one's supposed to just a detail or like one specific one. So I'll just call that little guy, and for those purposes, again, we need to use fetch. I'll use config.api URL. It says API SQS. And I believe we need to specify this access token we got. So for those purposes, I'll go just back into authentication. And it says we need to add a header, authentication bearer, with this access token. Okay, I can do that, I believe. So again, headers, and we just need to run that like this, and access token will be like this. Cool. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and I need to grab this little guy too. So this fetch essentially is supposed to do. Excuse me?
I guess you have an extra code break.
Do you? Just hold a sec. Where exactly? Ah, we're there.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Nice catch. Okay, res console of res. Just see if it works again. Cool. I'll just refresh it. JSON native code. Well, we are almost there. So I'm just know that this thing is probably working. And again, I'm going to extract this thing away from the whole components. And I'll call it cons get schools. And as an argument, I'll have there an access token. Because right now I don't worry about where I'm going to store this token. This is going to be covered in next license, so I'll just make it stupid so guys can be factored later on. Alright, access token, Oh yeah, forgot to pull this JSON thing over there. And now just let const products will be get schools with this access token, right? Coolio. And I'll log those products. Those are all the products. Here we go. There are some data, and those data are supposed to be the real products from the API. So yeah, we have a list of our products, except it's not a list yet. So let's create a list from it. How many of you already work with React and the props and states and this kind of stuff? Alright, opposite. Who did not? Alrighty. So guys, all of you, you're supposed to read actually this documentation of React, you will love it, but let me just briefly kind of tell you what is inside of the React. So React is component based. Each thing is represented over there, this looks like a component. So whenever we have created some children over there, and this weird like syntax is called JSX. So basically this thing is being translated to JavaScript. This actually stands for create element h1 with those props, and those are props as let's see, variables coming inside to the component. And whenever I'll be creating, let's say, a new thing over there, or let me just grab this whole thing. See? Those are the shortcuts which are making my life easier. So, and this one is not making my life easier. Cool. I'll just call it test. So there is a test. I can actually navigate it through that. Here you can see basically those are being rendered as an HTML as it's supposed to be. But what is the cool part is that actually whenever I'll go to this React thing, it comes from some extension of React. You should download it. Sorry, I totally forgot about telling you what it is. So you see, there is an app component, and this app component has some nested components. And those components are other stuff. And over there, as a prop, there is a children. So basically, whenever what's inside of this JSX scope, it's called the children. But as a prop, you can also consider any attribute you're passing to this component. So for example, there is this P, and I will, let's say, I don't know, add there is okay, true. Oh, yeah. So now it has a prop is okay, true. Let's see if it's really there. Yeah, and it says it's true. And actually I can toggle it over there. This is pretty cool because if I will create some other components, I can actually read those props from the inside. So let me demonstrate this pretty simply. I'll just create const p, which will be a thing which returns something like that. And it will be this. So I've created a component which is capital P, and I'll remain this P with that P. Okay. Just see if it's working. It is indeed. So there is still this paragraph, but there is a capital P. Just to demonstrate it even before it's more obvious, I'll rename this P to Paraji. Paraji is good. Paraji. Oh my god, it was the worst name ever. Alright, so just again, so this is how it works. The cool part of it is, so all the props are coming to this children component as the arguments of the function. So they are within those props. So I suppose to, let me just change this to some string instead. Past, let's say, and I can put it over there. The props is okay, right? So it's test as. If I'll change this little guy to this 2, it's gonna be test 2. So this is how our props are working in a very, very, very like simple way. There is one more thing. Props are coming from parents down to children. But there is also a state, which is actually working within the component itself. It's called the local state of the component. Since we are fetching the data inside of this component, I would say it's a pretty good place where to put it. I'm not sure, but yeah, let's put it over there. To work with this state, we shall actually use one more thing, which is coming from ES7. ES7 is the most modern way of JavaScript, and it's called class property. So I can write over there state, and let's say products. And so far I'll just create like this empty array over there. And I can do one more thing, it's loading through. And to access this state, I need to do some, I can either go here and right there, this state is loading or product, or yeah, it's loading. Boom. No, actually it won't say anything because it's a boolean, but if I'll make it a string, yeah, so now it says true, right? So this is how basically state work and how you can access to that. But there is one more thing regarding state. You can update it pretty easily. And this is exactly what we will do over there. So over there, we are fetching our products. And once we get them, we would like to populate them into our state. I'll call this set state. This is an async function again, and you can actually use the previous state performance, so it can work like this. It returns a new state, or there is a shortcut you can do just like that. So I will just pass there the products, but I also know that this loading will be false because I already loaded them. Cool. So now we can even see that, yeah, there is some empty objects, and they are actually products. You see, this actually is like the extension which kind of demonstrates all the stuff, so you don't need to write consoles all the time again and again. It's really boring thing to do. Alright, we are almost there. The last thing is we need to worry about, or let me just remove this paragraph thing, it's definitely not needed at all. I will do a simple conditional rendering. It's actually written again in the React documentation, but I'll demonstrate it right away. So I'll just do is loading and products. I will use products data from this state. This is just like shortcut version of instead of writing this dot state, this dot loading. And over there, I'll perform a conditional rendering. When it's loading, I would like to display 3 dots. So there are 3 dots, they are disappear because I suppose that it's loaded. And the opposite, when it's not loading, I would like to display some lists of products. And over there, I will actually use data map. So I'll just explain you what exactly I'm doing over there. And let me see, what is the shape of data? Attributes, codes, description, image URL, name, perfect. So I'll do attributes, name. Let's see if it works. It does. Cool. So now I'll just briefly tell you what it is and how does it work. So over there we ran a conditional rendering. So if is loading is true, I will render this string. React is capable of rendering either JSX or a string or array or many other things or other React components. And over there, when it's not loading, I am rendering UL. UL is standing for unlisted list, and LE is list item. And over there, within the JSX scope, I'm mapping our data, which are basically coming from when I load this data over there. Products, let me see. Oh, Jesus. Again, it's embarrassing. Usually given, so yeah, oh my goodness. Here we go, almost there. So what it says, yeah, so this is the shape of data. There is a data object, it's actually an array, so that's why I can map over it. Map is ES6 function again. And in this collection I can see there are some attributes, and from these attributes I got some names. So what I do care about is just names, and actually other guys will do, or you can do whatever you want. You can get, for example, images from that. Sorry. So for example, how to get the image, you can do. So for, damn it. 1 second, please. That's good. It's not actually. I'll do it. So image tag, right? You know it from. When the hell? I just lost my voice. Now it's better. That's interesting. Never happened to me though. Well, source. So there is image, there is source, and I can write down. Oh my god, I got you.
This will go viral, man.
Oh my goodness. So let's take a break, guys. I suppose 5 more minutes. I'll try to find my voice. Yeah, because there are like a few more things I would like to cover. And I'm not capable of right now. Alright guys, so 5 minutes, I'll be back. Configuration file, we obtained this information from commerce layer. So Onza actually did a great question. What kind of application you're supposed to use? It's a channel. So basically once you will be creating the stuff, it's a channel. So let me just demonstrate it really quickly. It's over there, and you can see it's a web app kind of channel. And this thing will generate your client ID, client secret. You don't need to have this one, but base endpoint and allowed scalps. So that's the thing. And that was the config. And ideally, those things supposed to live in the process.env variables. For some reason, it didn't work for me. I will figure it out, and I'll let you know why it's happening. And then we ran into our app. And we actually tried to use this config to communicate with our API. So let's see what we created over there. So we created a function which is called getToken. Over there we are fetching the API URL to this endpoint. We are sending the post request, and we are setting the headers to JSON. And we are sending the body as a JSON too. So we are using over there the client ID and scope mentioned from the config. Then we are just parsing the JSON back to the response, and we are using this token over there to get those products. And within the products, we are doing basically almost the same thing, except the fact that we actually calling the different endpoint. Now it's a GET request, so we don't need to specify this method thing. Default is a GET. And headers, again, content type application JSON, and authorization header is bearer token. I think I need to set up a reminder for drinking. That's the thing. Okay. And in the very end, what we did. So we created this ES7 state property, class property for getting our state. By the way, this thing is, I forgot to mention, it's an equivalent to writing this. Oh. Constructor, there's supposed to be prop, there's supposed to be super props, and there's gonna be this state, and I'll copy this. So since I'm getting older, I'm like really tired of typing, so I prefer writing this. You should do that too. Cool. I can actually remove this console log, it's not needed anymore. So over there we got some products, we put them back in the state. And over here I broke something, apparently. Oh, there is missing UL.
Missing closing tag for image.
Oh yeah. That's where I lost my voice. So yeah, it was item.attributes.image URL, I believe. Oh my god, image URL. Let me see if it works. Ole. So here it is. I'll just set, let's say, height of 20 to it. Cook. Oh, 4. Let's do it more semantically correct. So I'll just wrap it over here. And there's supposed to be also alt attribute. For this one, we can use alt attributes. Description probably. Description. Beautiful. And this is too small. Let's make it bigger. 50, 60, 60. Great. So it's over there. It has some description over there. Now it's good. Great. And there was some. Yeah, each child in a list should have a unique key prop. That's correct. There is actually a link why it's there. So once you're going to implement that, you can see what it is. And what I'm going to do, I am going to use as a key item.id. And it's not over there. Oh my gosh. Because well, it's supposed to be there. Okay, let's refresh. Alright, now we are without errors. Cool. So essentially we did a configuration and we used that configuration to get some data and to display the data. We also covered really basics of conditional rendering, how to use it, some mapping over it. And I probably totally forgot to mention that within the JSX scope, whenever you write down the curly brackets, you can write down again the JavaScript. So basically, this is JSX, this is JavaScript, and this is JSX back again. Alright, so I'm going to commit it. And add config page products. And get open. Boom. Cool. Now let's go back to presentation. So we did this, and now we're almost ready to actually run write the real application. But to do so, we need to ensure if our code is actually written in a good way. So there's a thing, there's my t-shirt, it says $0 given, I really trust in the thing. And let's actually ensure that our code base will be exactly like with $0 given. So for those purposes, there are many various code quality tools. I'll mention just a couple of them, and my colleagues will show them, like the rest of them, during the other weeks. Let's start with editor config. So this little guy is like super simple file that I believe every single project is supposed to have. It's just a basically simple configuration of how your editor is supposed to behave. This thing distinguishes whether you will use spaces or tabs, what will be the indent size, what will be the length and length of the file, and so on. It's just a mandatory thing to have, I believe, because sometimes it could break a lot of stuff and you don't want to have this. So by adding this, what we need to do, I'll just go back to our project. So here, I want. How did I open this one? Cool. So all you need to do is go into your root of your project, generate their editor config, and copy paste this some stuff. So yeah, I'm usually just copy pasting this configuration, but as I mentioned over there, this is meant to be for all the files, so we are going to use UTF-8 for all of it. As an end of line, we will use the Linux one. And there is a pretty good thing, insert final new line. So whenever I will remove the line and I will save it, it will generate the line back. This is, I would say, is more like historical thing, but sometimes actually you can run into some weird issues on some like other different, especially on Windows actually. And yeah, we are going to use spaces instead of tabs. I would say it's much easier to represent and imagine rather than tab, and indent size will be 2. So whenever I hit tab, it will jump over 2 characters, as you see, 2 characters, 1 and 2. And this trim trailing white space true is whenever I will create shitload of, without B, spaces over there, and I'll hit save, it will just remove it right away. It's beautiful. So yeah, let's edit this one. It's super easy for you, no pain at all in terms of implementation. So I will do come to edit file first, and I'm going to commit, and I'll call it add editor. Cool. Great. So what do we have now? There is a prettier tool. Have you ever heard about prettier? Cool. Some of you yes, some of you not. So briefly, it's again code formatting. So even though formatting of code is not like bugger or creating or generating any bugs, but it actually helps you to build a better code in general. Over there is a link right here. I'm not going to open it because we have like 30 minutes left, so I'll speed up the things a bit. But what is good about it is actually building and enforcing a style guide for you. So you don't need to worry about whether there is going to be semicolons or wouldn't be. So it's just super easy to kind of write code faster. At the same time, it also makes like your whole coding more efficient. Let me demonstrate to you. So first of all, let's install it. So I'll just add prettier, and I'll call this D, which means save dev. It's a dev dependency. I don't need it for my production build. Well, meanwhile, I'm going to create some configuration file. It's called prettier RC. And I'm also going to create a prettier ignore. It's just like git ignore, but prettier ignore. So, for prettier, we can set up various configurations, but I will put there just 3 of them, which are really mandatory for me at least. We will use trailing comma and at least 5. So commas are everywhere. Single quotes, because it's possible to use either single or double quotes, so let's just stick with a single one. And semicolon false. We don't like semicolons here at STRV. It's just like extra character. So let's save our keyboard and not typing it at all. And on the opposite, into prettier ignore, I will just set there a couple files. So we don't want to actually format our package.json, nor package.json log, nor log. So these are that things, and I'm going to actually create one script. And what the hell? Oh, and let me just group those dependencies together. So dependencies are together, and I'm going to create a format script. This will use prettier. We'll use it with write command, and this write is actually basically, it will, whenever you will write this format thing, besides just telling you what's wrong with formatted, it will also change automatically, so you don't need to worry about it at all. And we need to tell it in which scope we would like to write it. I just have like a cheat sheet over there, so I'll just copy paste it. So what do we care about is we would like to format our JavaScript files, CSS files, MD, which stands for Markdown, and JSON files. So let me break some file over there, and I'll demonstrate what I'm talking about. And first of all, I'm just going to remove this, I'm just going to remove this right flag. So now it's removed. So I can put the semicolon over there, and for example, I can do this, and this, and this. Now there is a feature in VS Code that I can save without formatting. Now it's saved, and if I'll go back to terminal, and type yarn format. Oh yeah. So now it doesn't like some stuff over there. But if I'll go to package.json back again and here, and I'll do the right and run it again. Yeah, and run through these files, and if I'll go back to app.js, voila, it's formatted somehow. This is a really neat thing because actually it's all kind of automated right away, and especially it's built in into VS Code a bit. All you need to do is go to your settings, and there's supposed to be format and save. So VS Code is actually capable of reading this prettier thing and running that. But their script is still takes its place because not all of us will use, or especially your like future colleagues or whatever, will use this VS Code with the same configuration. That's why it's good to have a separate script for that. Get Zeppelin. Go die, please. Alright, status. So yeah, we added. Ouch. I didn't want to format this guy, never mind. I can do it later on. So we installed the prettier package over there. We moved our dependencies to here so it's more beautiful. We added format script, and we added configuration for prettier, and we added prettier unit. Great, so I'm going to edit all of it. Git commit add prettier. So now we have formatting done, and let's focus on the real code. So for those purposes, we will use ESLint. ESLint is the most well-known JavaScript linter. Linting is the process of actually analyzing the code, and we will use it on our daily basis. So for those who don't know, ESLint is over there. You can check it over there. And we will use a VS Code extension a bit. It looks like this. And you've been actually maybe seeing it right there. So for example, if I will go to app.js, so I just have like a lot of files open there. Done. Yeah, so app.js, for example, I will write there, hello. You see, it's like yelling at me that hello is not defined, and it's a message from ESLint. So it knows right away there is something wrong with my code, and it probably will break in in a runtime. So this is really good, and this is the best friend of yours, because it will be telling you what to write, what not to write, how to write, and everything. This is a really nasty thing, and so we will use it, of course, for our purposes too. So to perform that, we need to actually install the ESLint first. But so the thing is, it's already installed within React scripts. As I was injecting that, there was actually ESLint and some other stuff, and especially it kind of yells at me already. But what do we miss? We miss some really proper configuration, and by proper configuration I mean STRV configuration. We are not that much strict, but we have our own rules, and there is actually really great configuration of Airbnb. I would say it's kind of standard, but Airbnb, they are erroring some stuff which are not errors, and we are kind of more enforcing right in the really clear code. So let me just copy paste again some stuff, and come on. So I will again yarn add, and the package name is add strv/ESLint config react. I will need this one, and since we are using prettier, I also need to have a config for prettier too, because those things, one is formatting, the second one is linting, but they kind of do not work together if we are not setting that properly. So it's called ESLint config prettier. I'll add those two, and again, flag D for dev dependencies. Ta-da! So now I shall install it, and in the package.json there was already an ESLint config field. So let's just remove it, we don't need it over there. And instead of that, I'm going to create, not here, but again in a root. I will create ESLint rc.js. Why JS? Because sometimes in ESLint we are we are enabling and disabling some rules, so it's much easier to do that in a JavaScript file rather than just RC file. module exports, and this one could actually essentially run with some CI, so that's why I'm not using like exports default, which is ES6 syntax of modules. I will just use the default one. And I need to add there some configuration. I will just copy paste it again because we are really short on time. So let me see. Boom. So what we got over there? I'll just remove it. So we are extending some rules. These are coming from the package we just installed. These two. There is the prettier. There is the prettier React. These are both coming with the second package I mentioned, ESLint config prettier. Then I'm setting up the root and I'm setting up the environment. So our whole application will run both like in ES6 and Node and CommonJS. It's just like easier to make things faster. Parser bubble ESLint allows us to use most modern features such as imports, let's say. And parser options will tell us that yeah, we are going to open modules. So this simple setup is supposed to work, I believe, and let's check it out if it still does. So if I will write down a semicolon, for example, because it shouldn't be there. But if I'll write iboy again, yeah. Cool, so now it's still yelling at me, which is great. One more step to make it more perfect, we need to create a special script for that again. So I'll call it lint.js. And this lint.js will do basically this. I will run it on all JavaScript files, I believe. And there is a beautiful thing about the ESLint, that just like prettier, it has right flag. This one has fixed flag. And many rules of ESLint are auto-fixable. Not all of them, but some of them yes. So basically it kind of shapes your code again and it can fix a lot of stuff. To demonstrate that, let me show you, for example, this. I will again save the file and I will create the component which does not exist. Save without formatting. And now if I'll go run lint.js, oh, there was fixed flag, damn it. Yeah, but as you see, it actually shows you a lot of stuff over there. And it didn't show us the semicolon, because this actually semicolon, it's still here for some reason. Well, never mind. Let's just remove it, and let's just leave it with this. Great. So we have our ESLint set up and ready, even though it produces some bugs or some errors. Actually, I would like to see them, and we can maybe fix them, because it's really bad to commit some code which has some bugs. So this service worker was generated not by us, but by someone else. And these two little guys, we can disable them for now, because why to have them, right? So I will just pick this rule, just these two rules. But to be honest, actually, it's not a good practice to disabling those rules. Rather than that, you're supposed to fix them. But, oh. Cool. 0. 0 means disabled, 1 means warning, 2 means error. And there is a column is great. Let's run it again. It's better. Note default and set state. Now the return value. Why is that? Well, we are getting there. Never mind. We are already a bit late, so I'll just make it super fast. I'll add all the stuff. I'll git commit at ESLint, and I'll tell you about the most important stuff that we actually, oh, by the way, we use this called quality tools, which is just like the ESLint config of JavaScript we use over here in STRV. It's an open source repository, so feel free to use it for your Node projects, for front-end projects. There are a lot of ESLint configurations. There is even prettier configuration. You can see remark CLM, which is meant to be for Markdown, and there is styling for CSS. Nick will cover that in the next week on styling and CSS. And this commit lint is like really Nazi. It actually kind of forces you to write like meaningful commit messages, what you want to do, especially when you're working in a team. But let's move back to our presentation. So I mentioned to you prettier code formatting, linting. But having those tools without actually any kind of enforcing is almost useless. Because even though you will do it properly, there are maybe some other people who will actually not having these. So essentially, some bugs will get into your code base and you don't want to do that. So rather than that, or how we will actually prevent that, we can use pre-commit hooks. Pre-commit hook is basically a script which runs before you actually do the commit, and either it terminates it or it passes. So let's set them up. There is a nice package that's called Husky, and there is an even more nicely package which is called LintStage. So Husky allows you to create those pre-commit hooks or pre-push hooks just by using JavaScript, which is nice. And LintStage is capable of running linters just of those files which are staged. Let's install them and let's use them. Cool. So I'm going to add Husky and LintStage. And oops, let me see how it works. So Husky says we shall Husky who's pre-commit and run some comments over there. Okay, I can work with that. So it's set. Husky hooks, and I'm missing this. And we would like to use pre-commits. So dash. And for this pre-commit hook, we will use, basically we would like to run our lint.js and formatting. But instead of this, we will just use the LintStage comment. And now we are going to define what is LintStage. So in this LintStage, we can actually perform many various actions, and so I will. So for all the JavaScript files, I would like to run. Actually, it's an array. I would like to run a prettier. Prettier. What's red?
Quotes.
Is it? I hope not. Oh yeah, it's actually JSON. Fair enough. So I would like to do prettier right. I don't need to specify the path anymore because it's going to be run just on those files which are staged. So prettier right and ESLint fix. And in the end, since we are kind of editing those files, we need to add them back to our code versioning system. So I'll do this. So we will write it, or we will format them, we will lint them, and we will do this.
Should be zip and dot?
No.
No.
Because it kind of you can consider this as a piping. So basically, it just pipes those files into that. All right. Since I'm not sure if it will work, I will just check out to let's go test. Again, seriously? Cool. So here we are, and as I mentioned, now if I will edit, for example, this file and I will break something, let's say I'll just remove this loading. Even now, like ESLint is yelling at me that something is not defined, but nonetheless, I can hit commit A, and A is the shortcut for add the file I modified. I can write down test. And now you see, it's performing. It's Husky, which is running pre-commit hook. It's ran the prettier, but ESLint crashed, which is nice, because I fucked up my code and I need to fix it. So, beautiful. I'll just remove this statement back. I'll try to run it again. And here we are. But yeah, I'm going to check out back. And it was what it was. one. Oh goodness, I forgot to commit it right there. Shit. Never mind. So, alright, I'll do it real fast. I already wrote it. So, papa, and yeah, now this is generating the new JR log file, and here we are, almost there. Great. So we know that this is working, so I will test it again, and rather than that, I'm actually going to commit it. So git commit am and huskit plus stage. So these two little guys actually will do, I would say, or will kind of enforce your code quality a lot. We love it a lot on the front-end departments. Not sure about backend guys, but we are kind of trying to force them too. But yeah, this tool essentially helps us a lot to maintain our code quality a lot. So you should actually stick with that too. I definitely recommend doing that. And especially it kind of, sometimes you're just kind of not seeing the bugs for some reason. So this will definitely punish you right away and will force you to write a clean code. And with that, I'm going to the last part of my presentation, which is the documentation. So during the whole lecture, I was pointing out that there is documentation, So actually, documentation is a very important piece of software. And it even applies for you. Whenever you're writing any app, write documentation too. I know that actually React app or Create React app is coming with really awesome documentation. Let's see it, what is there. Yeah, so it kind of tells us what to do, how to run it, but it's too general. Write your own documentation all the time, which is relevant or specific for your project. Tell on which it's built on, what kind of code quality tools you are using, what API is there, and so on. What is your project structure? It's your responsibility to kind of maintain the whole thing, especially once you go back to your project, let's say after 2 years, you will never ever remember what was there inside, unless you write the documentation. So just think of it, it's really a good thing. We are actually even asking our candidates who are joining front-end docs, front-end department to write documentation. So yeah, documentation is really the thing to do. So yeah, documentation is a must, really think of it. And so now I just would like to do a quick summary of what we did over there. So we ran through Project Starter, it was a great React app. We tried to inject it, work with that, see how it works. Definitely try it out, definitely worth it. Then we set up our API and config. So for you, it was basically this commerce layer. We check, we get our token, we get our products, and we created config.js file without process.environment files. I'll fix that, sorry for that. And the last part was about the code quality tools, when we set up our prettier, editor config, and ESLint. And we kind of enforced all of it with Husky and Blend stage. Last part is about the documentation. And which leads me to homework. So as I mentioned, practice makes master, so let's kind of repeat all the stuff we made over there. So first of all, please create a private repository on your GitHub. Please follow this name convention, so there will be React Nights, and ideally they're supposed to be 2019. Then invite me, Daniel Kraus over there, and your mentor. Those guys, they're supposed to have their GitHub names on the slide, I believe. Set up a commerce layer IO. You need to have a channel over there to obtain client ID and the scope. And open a pull request with this project setup. So basically what I did over there, it's your task right now. So again, project start API config, fetch list of products, and it's totally up to you what kind of properties you will display. So I've put there a name and an image. You can put their description, whatever you want. And write down some decent documentation, so you're just kind of used to it. And just remove the previous one and write your own. And for those who didn't read it yet, please check the main concept of amazing creatives. I'm just going to open them and demonstrate what it is. So it's obviously on reactjs.org file, and it's over here on the right. So yeah, there are some hello world, introducing to JSX. All of these are really basic concepts, so just read them through, even though we will be kind of trying to explain you what is inside, but still I would say self-learning is the key, so just read through it. You don't need to follow those embeds guys nor anything like this, we will cover it later too. But yeah, for now on, just read it. It's really amazing reading, and you will understand how good React is. And I believe this is pretty much it. So guys, do you have any questions, or shall we go for a beer and have those questions over there? Sassy. Any questions? Yes? Go for it.
Can you share the presentation, please?
Of course, I will do that. So basically, as mentioned before, I will share all the presentation after the lesson. I'll do that.
Do you have an idea when will you publish the video from this lecture?
What do you think about?
2 days, I expect.
2
Like
days,
1
let's
day,
say.
I will try as soon as possible.
Please make sure that the voice and the video are synced, right? It used
Yeah.
to be a huge problem in the previous courses and it's so hard
And
to
then
follow.
coughing and
Yeah.
Yes, this is the main part.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
like to see that too. Please do that.
Right.
All right. Any other question, please?
For the code quality tools,
Mhm.
like should we start with it already, or it would enforce some stuff that we shouldn't focus on right now?
Well, I would say yes. Start using it right away. It's really a good thing to have, and it actually kind of forces you to write like linear code, and it kind of educates you too, because there are like a lot of messages which are telling you this is not good, this is good. So for example, if I'll go over back to my app, and if I'll do for example something like, let's say, access token, or if access token equals YOLO, the linter is supposed to, it matches me. And there's supposed to be like 3 quotes instead, because it's like change the types too. So this kind of leads into better code too. So basically, yeah, I would say code quality tools from the very beginning are must. We started with project setup or project starter, so it's like, and at least we have something. But yeah, it's totally up to you what you want to start, but have it right away. It's good. Cool. Anything else?
What about this code? Are you going to?
Oh yeah, just like presentation, all of it will be presented on a repository I'm going to create. I'm just going to create after this, after we're going to end up. I will open a pull request over there, and we're really just going to merge it right away.
In the solution?
Yeah, but yeah, it's just for the first time. But anyway, please do it by yourself rather than check the solution. Yeah, because it's like the first lesson, but like from now on, actually, all the stuff which will be displayed within the lesson will be over there in the repository, but homeworks won't be anymore. We'll actually reveal those homeworks after the deadline, let's say in the morning, Monday, 6, 7 a.m., maybe 8, sometimes 9. Cool. So, no more actions, I guess?
There's no other question. I know there was the issue with the getting into the Slack. I've come up with a workaround, so for those who have that issue, please just hit strv.com/letmein, and it will redirect you to the proper invitation link. And if you open it in your browser, then you should be able to create the account. Can you confirm, please, right now, for those?
I can try it out. I hit it. It works for me, but for you it was the link.
Yeah, because like you are already in there.
Yeah, I'm going to zoom it in a bit so you can see it.
But if you open it in incognito mode, then
Oh yeah.
it should redirect you to the proper page.
Yeah, looks like it works. So yeah, sorry for technical difficulties. It was for the first time we were generating QR codes. Great. Yeah, now it's supposed to actually allow you to log in. Great. So we got pretty much covered everything. So the last part, what we need to do is actually to sign your names on these lovely things, so we can recognize who you are, and especially your mentors. I've seen a couple of guys over there waiting for you already. And all of us, we shall move to 3C for part of our offices. It's just all across the whole building to the very end. We will be having there a small party, and then we can actually join another party, which is like upstairs in a scroll bar. All right, so that's it from my side. Thank you very much for attending, and yeah, thank you.